Good morning, participants. Welcome to this online webinar training sessions for Appendix 3 examination. Today's topic is railway budget. To take this session, we have faculty Shri K. Damodara Prasad, retired senior IRIFM. Sir, welcome, sir. Over to you, sir. Please come in.
Thank you. Thank you, Naisra Garu. Welcome, dear participants, for this 2A session.
Sir, all are muted, sir. Can I unmute them?
Yeah, in the end, we will unmute.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Right.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to this railway budget preparation and reviews. This is a very important topic from our 2A examination point of view. It is necessary for all of us also. Whenever we do, even for monthly expenditure, or suppose a function has to be arranged, normally we will plan. Similarly, the organization like railways also, they have to prepare budget. They have to prepare an estimate of expenditure or estimate of earnings. These are all the things which we have to prepare. But unlike our personal programs, say, suppose I want to construct a house. So we will see where from the money is coming and how much is available and how much I have to take loan and what is the total cost. Other, if it is exceeding certain amount, so where are the additional sources? That is how we will see. And similarly, while coming the expenditure also, we will meticulously see and then we will budget, we will estimate how much is going to be the total cost. So this is how our personal financing we will be doing. Similar way, for railways also, we have to prepare an estimate. That estimate, we call it as budget. But most important point here in our system is that the expenditure, suppose our personal expenditure is there. Okay, that personal expenditure we can meet from our own sources and I can draw as and when I require. But that is not the case with the government department. Railway being a government department, in my first session, I told you that in the structure of railway accounts, I told you that the government accounting will be in 3 parts. In that, I said part 1, which is Consolidated Fund of India, where our railway earnings will go and our expenditure also we will meet from our railway from Consolidated Fund of India. That requires prior parliament approval. So for flowing, no prior approval is required. But for taking out the money from Consolidated Fund of India, we need to take the approval of parliament. Okay. So suppose if it is my personal program, so I can jot down my expenditure in a different few subheadings, and then total I can make it, and then I can take money as and when I require. But in government organization like railways, or for that purpose, even government, union government, all departments, they need to follow a particular decorum and particular procedure. They cannot, each department cannot just give their requirements in their own fashion. In government accounting, as already I told you, that a systematic recording is required. So similarly, while seeking the budget also, a systematic way of seeking the budget is most important.
PPT is not moving, sir.
Which one? Which one?
PPT is not moving.
No, I didn't.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Yeah. So when the budget, the requirement is to be given, there is a parliamentary committee called estimate committee. So that estimate committee, it says that the budget requirements of government departments, they have to give in a particular format. That particular format, only in that particular format only, our railway budget has to be presented. That format in which the budget requirements of the government departments have to be projected is called demands for grants. Dear participants, all of you, please note down such items whenever I repeat. So that will come in as a part of your objective type questions. So the format in which the budget has to be presented to Parliament, it is the demands for grants. So this will be decided by whom? This will be decided by Estimates Committee. The Estimates Committee will tell, this is how I require the budget to be presented. So in the similar way, we have to present that. So with this background, you by this time, you may have understood that the difference between our personal finances estimating and the government estimates, government funds requirement estimate, there is clear differences there. And one more point is that the other day I was making a mention that the government expenditure, it has to, even as a commercial undertaking also, we require that the expenditure has to be bifurcated into capital and revenue. So while preparing our railway budget, we have to prepare the budget for revenue expenditure. We have to prepare budget for our capital expenditure also. So this is one. And one more point is the special feature of our government departments or railways is that the expenditure, so it has to be, as I said already, when we are taking money from Consolidated Fund of India, it requires Parliament approval. So the part of expenditure which requires vote of Parliament, we call it as voted expenditure. Similarly, this is almost 99.9% of our expenditure falls under this category. What is that category? Voted expenditure. So what is voted expenditure? Voted expenditure is that expenditure which requires vote of Parliament. Then there is a small portion of expenditure which requires sanction from President. That means it need not have the prior approval of Parliament. So it will be sanctioned by President. That expenditure, we call it as charged expenditure. So the expenditure, now we saw two different categorizations. One is based on the nature, it is revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. So we require budgets to be prepared in that way. Another categorization, depending upon the approval or sanction to be required. So the portion of expenditure which requires vote of Parliament, it is voted expenditure, and another expenditure which requires sanction from President, that is called charged expenditure. Charged expenditure is a small amount only, and whereas the large amount of a railway budget, it will go to voted part. Now you will be having a doubt, sir, which are the items in the railway budget which we have to project as a charged expenditure. The most important point is that the expenditure, as far as railways are concerned, the expenditure which is decreed by court of law. That means the court, when it orders to pay, suppose I have got a grievance and I have gone to court. Court asked me to pay 10 crores. So that 10 crores, it will amount to charged expenditure, because we cannot again go to Parliament and take approval. So such expenditure, what is that such expenditure? The expenditure which is decreed by court of law. Any court, if it is ordered and the government department accepts it, then payment is arranged, and that amount we call it as a charged expenditure. We have to show in our budget requirements separately, and the budget is also communicated in that way only. So these are the basic points which you have to understand. And then now let us go into the budgetary aspects. Most important point is that always whenever we budget it, even in our personal financing also, suppose I said for construction of a house, so how meticulously we will be going. Similarly, where from money will be coming, how meticulously we will jot down. So similar way, always the information we will ask 2-3 people, and then how much they spent. So similar way here also, for preparing the railway budget, it should be realistic data, and whatever expenditure, because it is a taxpayer money. It is, after all, whatever we are spending there in my personal finance, it is my money. But here it is a taxpayer money which we are spending. So therefore, it should be justifiable. And one more point is that we should take into account all known factors. Factors maneto, what will be the expenditure increase? Say, for example, suppose diesel cost is increased, suppose diesel cost reduced, or some new locos we have to purchase, or new bogies we have to purchase. So what should be the cost? So all that known factors, suppose some trade fairs are going on. So how many people they are going to come? Should we run special trains or not? So for that, how much expenditure is required? And from that, how much we are going to get? So these are all the things we should say that we should take all known factors into account. And one more point is that accurate. Accurate means, say for example, our locos, wagons and coaches, POH will be done. So POH will be done at some other place that we call it as a sheds, workshops. So workshops, they will give us per loco, this much is the cost, or per coach, this much is the cost, depending upon the repairs, corrosion repairs. There are so many types of repairs. So they will give. So for POH, this is the cost. So how many locos you are sending? There is a program will be there. So we should know physically how many locos are due for POH. So where you are sending, and from each workshop, you will be knowing how much cost. Suppose there is some variation, they will give that workshop officers, they will give later on. So we can change it during budget reviews. So depending upon the number which you are sending physically, and then how much value, that is the cost of the POH, then you will multiply, you will get how much is it. So unless you know, or suppose sometimes last year POH we have sent, and that POH could not be completed. So that also you have to take into account. So you should take into account all known factors. That is the most important. So this is how accurately the budget should be prepared. Now, what is the advantage? By preparing accurately, the difference between our estimate and our actual expenditure at the end of the year, it will be one and the same, or with slight modification, slight variation only will be there. Most importantly, this at the end of the year, what is voted or what is charged expenditure, which we sought, and actually how much we have spent, we need to give an account to government back, because it is reporting back to government. So at that point of time, audit will scrutinize our statements. So therefore, if we want that there should not be any scathing attack on our budget estimate preparation, so we should be accurate. And finally, last one, it should be complete. Complete maneto, all activities where money is required, those should be taken into account. Suppose you miss something, suppose you miss some subhead, or you miss some abstract, then you will not get anything. When you will not get anything, and you will not be able to spend that money. It is not available. So when it is not available, you cannot spend. So that is the most important point. So keep that as it. So voted and charged part. So this already I have explained. Then one more important point is budget execution. That is most important. What is that budget execution? Expenditure, whatever we are incurring, it should be within the budget allotted. जब भी budget parliament vote करेगा, and whatever President of India sanctions as a charged expenditure, these two we have to keep them as a on the top of our budget. We should keep them, and we should see in our liability register or in our budget register allocation wise, we should keep them under heading, and then whatever the spending is being done, and we should subtract, and then when money is not there we have to stop. This process we call them as budget certification. So what is the budget that was given under so and so abstract and so and so subhead, and under that so and so PU? So that amount will keep, and whatever the amounts that will be the claims that will be coming to accounts office, they should have the budget approved, budget certification. Unless funds are available, like that certificate is given, we will not pass the bill if it is not there. Budget certification is moved. Why? When it is given, then we can say that our spending will be within the budget allotted. That is most important. But one more important point. Every time we need not go to Parliament. Suppose some extra expenditure is there to cover, budget is not there, funds are not there. So what to do? Again, should we go to Parliament? Not required. There is some executive powers are given. Those executive powers, we call them as reappropriations. So the Parliament is also magnanimous. So they will give whatever we asked as per the availability, and then within that we should ensure. But only thing is, when it is not possible, then there are some concessions were given. So those we call them as reappropriations. What are these reappropriations? There is a sanctioned work is there. There is one more sanctioned work is there. Where money is given, that work is not progressing. Where money is not given, that work is progressing. So our estimate ulta ho gaya. Then in that case, what to do? Should we again go to Parliament? Not required. So there is this reappropriation. There are certain conditions are there. Within those conditions, from same plan head, from same source, that work is there where funds are available, and another work is also under the same plan head and same source. You can transfer the funds by proper order, and that will be concurred by our finance also. So once that is done, then that amount is available. So there is the sanction, the reappropriation is sanctioned by competent authority. So therefore it is not a deviation. So that's how we have to do. And these are all the important ingredients of our budgeting system. Now what is a budget? Already I told it is a constitutional requirement. As per which article, please note down. It is Article 112. As per 112 article, the budget is also called as annual financial statement. Budget in our codal books, it is stated as annual financial statement, but it is popularly known as annual budget. So it is annual budget as per Article 112 of the Constitution. An estimate, what is this annual financial statement consists of? Estimate of annual receipts and expenditure. Annual receipt and expenditure of which year? Of ensuing year. Ensuing year means coming year. So that coming year, next year, how much is receipt we are going to get and how much expenditure we are going to incur, that estimate has to be prepared. But that estimate, how it should be prepared? As I said, in the form of demands for grants. So in the form of demand for grants, what are the other things that are available? I'll let you know. So that is prescribed format. So what is the prescribed format? Demands for grants. Under demands for grants, further bifurcations will be there. So we have to follow that, and up to what level you should give the details. Up to subhead level and primary unit level, you have to give the details. Then the budget, what the railway board will communicate also, it will be up till that level, those details will be available. Abstract, subhead and primary unit. So these are all the levels up to which our expenditure projections we have to give, and the budget requirements we have to give, and budget also will come in that format only. And one more important point is that the budget after voting, after how it will be voted, when the budget is presented, there will be discussion will be going on. Say, for example, for 22-23 budget has been presented. Now the budget discussion is going on. So the discussion will take place. Later on, an appropriation bill that will be presented in the parliament, Lok Sabha, as a finance bill. So when the appropriation bill is presented, that bill will be passed. When bill is passed, then appropriation act it will become, and the amounts that we have projected to parliament, that now it will be available. So the amounts that are available, that will be communicated in the form of budget orders. Please note down. So the orders, how the budget communication will be done through budget orders. What is the document called by which the budget allotment is communicated? The budget allotment communicated through budget orders. Okay. The sums, the money, suppose 10,000 crores or 10 crores, that money we call it as allotment. The amount as voted by parliament, communicated, the money, whatever it is communicated as voted, that will be called as allotment. The allotment communicated through budget order. So what is budget order? The order through which, or the document through which budget allotment is communicated is called budget order. That is the authority for us that money is available. Okay. Now, most importantly, all of you may be aware that railway budget has been merged with general budget. From which year? 2017-18. Please note down. 2017 and 18. From this year onwards, our railway budget was merged with general budget. Now, what is meant by merged with general budget? That means our receipts will be Government of India receipts. In general budget, it will be there. From railways, these are the receipts. Our expenditure projected will be the expenditure of Government of India. So railways expenditure. So this much. That is the impact of the merger of railway budget with general budget. Earlier, we used to have, as per separation convention, separate budget used to be presented. And now the budget process, it is same. Whatever we used to prepare earlier, now there is no change in that procedure. But only thing is that parliamentary aspect, that is Ministry of Railway speech and presenting in the parliament and discussions in the parliament, all those things were taken away from us, and it will be done by Ministry of Finance. Only thing is we have to give our projections, complete, accurate, realistic. Keeping those things, if we prepare, fine. And one more thing is that Ministry of Finance, they will start discussion with the ministries, because our railway is not the only ministry. There are different ministries are there. So for each ministry, they have to conduct meetings and that discussion will start from this November onwards. So by that time, our estimates should be there with Railway Board. Therefore, the budget previously, it used to be the budget process. It used to be completed by December, but now it has been advanced to September. So by September, we should give our budget requirements. So Railway Board will compile and keep ready for discussion with Ministry of Finance by the month of November. So especially all of you must be aware that the budget process or that budget preparation process, it is a constitutional requirement. It is a constitutional duty what we are doing. And one more point is that it is also told as in our accounts code, in our finance code, that it is a managerial document. What is this managerial document? That means, so how much we wanted to spend. So how much money is required. And that money, when it is being spent, whether it is being spent or not, or whether it is being spent, then physically that much work is getting done or not. That review will be facilitated by preparing this budget. So therefore, budget is also a managerial document. Okay. Now, okay, when this budget is merged, what are the changes that were made, and what are the salient features of that merger? So Railway Ministry will continue as a departmental commercial undertaking. So already I told you that departmental commercial enterprise. Our railway is having that two way of working. एक तरफ गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट जैसा काम करेगा and दूसरे तरफ कमर्शियल डिपार्टमेंट जैसा भी काम करेगा. That system, it will still continue. There is no change. That means our railway will still be under commercial category only, not general, not service. It is under commercial category only. So we have to maintain our accounting system as it is. Then a separate statement of budget estimates and the demand for grant has been created for railways. Previously, we used to have 16 demands. Now all those 16 demands have gone. Now for railway, only one demand is there. So in your examination, suppose someone asks you how many demands for grants are there, don't write 16. Now only one demand is there. Of course, that demand number is changing. Initial year in 2017-18, it was 80. But now in 2022-23, it is 85. So number may change. But how many demands the railway is allotted? It is only one demand. So please keep that in mind. Previously, for revenue, there are 15 demands. And for capital expenditure, one demand is there. But now there is only one demand. It is under that only revenue segment and capital segment. These are the two details it will be having. Now, a single appropriation bill only, this already I told. Then railways exempted from payment of dividend revenue, dividend to general revenue. Previously, when budget support is given by central government, we used to pay certain dividend back to government of India. But now that dividend is not there because our railway budget has been merged with general budget. So there is no need of payment of dividend, but we will continue to get budget support. That's okay. Then the Ministry of Finance provides gross budgetary support. Previously, how it is even now also for capital expenditure, the government of India will support us. But as far as revenue expenditure is concerned, that ordinary working expenses and pension, it has to be borne by railways only. Previously, we used to bear our revenue expenditure as well as pension also. But even now also, even after merger also, from our own finances, our OWE and pension, we have to have. Then railway will continue to raise its resources through market extra budgetary resources as at present to finance its capital expenditure. So budget support they'll give, but in addition to that, suppose some extra money is required, we are at liberty. So previously we used to raise money from market borrowings. Even now also there is no restriction through our railway finance wing is there, IRFC, Indian Railway Finance Corporation. So through Railway Finance Corporation, we can get our expenditure. Then social service obligations, that means social service obligation to give some leverage to economically weaker sections. Certain concessions are given. Certain commodities we carry at lower rate than our cost. So that it will continue. Similarly, even for passengers also, ordinary mail bar express, ordinary class, that expenditure, it is still under social service obligation and it will not be raised. So that loss we have to continue to bear. That also, it was clearly mentioned when the merger took place. Then so as I said, now the railway receipts and expenditure will form the part of government general budget like any other ministry or department. So like other ministries, railway have to prepare a detailed demand for grants within few days after the presentation of parliament, presentation of budget in the parliament. So now when you look at the budget directorate, you will find this detailed demand for grants. So there, how much money is given, voted by parliament, and how much is charged expenses, everything details will be available. So now, having said that, we should know about the railway will be having only one demand. That remember correctly. So only one demand instead of 16 demands earlier we used to have. But that under that one demand, I said further bifurcation will be there. What is the further bifurcation after demand? So demand is the head. So under that, these are all the major heads will be having. So these major heads will be having 4-digit code will be there. So these are commercial. All of you should be aware that our expenditure will be bifurcated because we merged with the government budget. It has gained much more importance because our railway lines are two types of railway lines are there: commercial lines and strategic lines. Commercial lines, you leave it. Strategic lines, I will tell. Strategic lines, there are 6 lines are there. So those lines for defense purposes, it has been constructed. Strategic lines, those lines we call them as strategic lines. So these lines specifically, they will be available. They are available only on 4 railways. So those 4 railways, they have to indicate their earnings and expenditure separately in addition to commercial lines. So barring those 4 zonal railway, all other zonal railway, they have got their expenditure and earnings will be only commercial lines. The other zonal railway, they did not worry. But the 4 zonal railways where strategic lines are there, they have to separately maintain account of the receipts and expenditure. Now, what are the major heads that are operated under commercial lines and strategic lines? Common to all, 1001, this is the major head for receipt. This is miscellaneous receipt. Please listen this carefully. 1001 major head is commercial or strategic lines. It is miscellaneous receipt. Similarly, miscellaneous expenditure, that is also common to both commercial and strategic, that is 3001. So these 3001 and 1001, these are miscellaneous receipt and miscellaneous expenditure. That you should be clear. Now, it is easy to remember also. For 1001, you add 2 in the 1000 digit. So 1001 add to 3001. So 1001 is miscellaneous receipt and 3001 is miscellaneous expenditure. Okay. 1001 miscellaneous receipt. What is that miscellaneous receipt? The RRB will be collecting certain amount from the candidates. So that amount will be 1001. And 3001 is the amount which we spend on surveys and railway board and miscellaneous establishments. That we call it as 3001 miscellaneous expenditure. So you leave that. Miscellaneous receipt, miscellaneous expenditure, already I told. Now, we will be concentrating on commercial lines and strategic lines. So, commercial lines, 1002 is our earnings. What are the earnings which we have? Abstract X, abstract Y, abstract Z. That is coaching earnings, goods earnings, and sundry earnings. So, if it is from commercial lines, we will be allocating them under 1002. It is commercial lines. And 1003, if it is from strategic lines of 4 zonal railway, then we will be showing them under 1003. So 1002 and 1003, these are meant for receipts or earnings, railway earnings from commercial lines and strategic lines. So that will be allocated here only. If it is a miscellaneous receipt, 1001. Okay, fine. Now receipts are over. Now come to the expenditure side. Expenditure side, 3001 miscellaneous expenditure, already I told you. Now from commercial lines, whatever expenses are there, our revenue maintenance expenditure are there, revenue expenditure is there, that will be budgeted under 3002 major head. From commercial lines, suppose the same revenue expenditure, if it is for strategic lines, will be budgeting under 3003 major head. Leave that. Now come to the next. What is the segment we have? Capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, if you are spending on commercial lines, it is major head is 5002. If you are spending on strategic lines, it is 5003 major head. So under the demand, so miscellaneous receipt, miscellaneous expenditure, receipts from commercial lines, receipts from strategic lines. Similarly, revenue expenditure on commercial lines, strategic lines, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure from commercial lines, and capital expenditure on strategic lines. So these are all the major heads. So their broad indication will be there. Now, from there, again, the further bifurcation will be there. So what is the further bifurcation? After major head, we will be having sub-major head. There will be no sub-major head under 3001. So under 3002, that is on our revenue expenditure, we have got sub-major head 1 to 11. 1 to 11 sub-major heads will be there. And these 1 to 11 sub-major heads are previously the demands for grants. So you forget about them. So those previous earlier demands for grants now have been marked as sub-major heads. Sub-major heads 1 to 11. Previously demands 3 to 13. Why 2 are not there? Because railway board, it has come, railway board and miscellaneous establishment, it has come in 3001. So therefore, sub-major heads 1 to 11 are earlier 3 to 13 demands for grants. These are all the further bifurcation under major head. Now these sub-major heads 1 to 11, that is abstract A, abstract B, abstract C, like that. So sub-major head 1, sub-major head 2, sub-major 3, sub-major head 11. These will be further bifurcated as a minor head. Minor head mane to 100, 200, 300, like that it will be there. Now, after that, that minor head also further bifurcated into subhead. How? 100, 110, 120, 130, or 200, 210, 220, 230, like that subheads will be there. So up till this, the budget will have to present. You have to seek funds up to sub-major head. Detail head not required. Then PUIs. There are object of expenditure. So suppose subhead 100 crores is there, 100 crores on what you will be spending. So for that answer, you have to give PUIs. I will be spending 01 salaries, 02 DA, 03 PLB, like that you should tell. So that expenditure requirements you will be projecting. This is OWE. Then 3002 only, under 3002 only, there is one more sub-major head, 12 will be there. This is appropriation to DRF and pension fund. How much we can appropriate from our earnings to DRF and pension fund. So that we will be separately giving. 3002, it is over. Now 5002, capital expenditure. Capital segment of expenditure, minor head wise. Here, in capital segment of expenditure, even though I call it as a minor head, popularly these are known as plan heads. So when I say plan heads, now you will be knowing that new lines, plan head, doubling plan head, railway electrification, it is a plan head, bridge works, it is a plan head, track renewals, it is a plan head. So likewise, plan head wise and source wise. Source माने तो कहाँ से ये पैसे मिलेगा? From budget support given by government, or from our fund DRF, or from our DF, safety fund, or extra budgetary resources. So that we have to follow, and accordingly we will be giving our requirements. So these are the major heads. Now further subdivision, already I told 3 to 13, minor head, subhead also I give, and detailed head budgets as a budget, it is not required, but classification wise it is required. Now you may be getting a doubt. I was telling that 4 railways are having strategic lines. What are the 4 railways? So sometimes they may ask you. So Northern Railway, North Frontier Railway, Northwestern Railway, and Western Railway. These are the 4 railways which are having those 6 strategic lines. So they have to bifurcate the earnings and expenditure in commercial as well as strategic. So those major heads they have to follow. Next. One more important point is this. After merger, what are the changes that were brought in the budget? One is there is our budget preparation as it is, it can go. No change in the budget preparation side. But only thing is our budgetary process in the parliament, it is not there now. Then pension fund, DRF, DF, development fund, capital fund, debt service fund, and safety fund, we will continue to get and provide. Then the budget reviews, previously we used to have 3 budget reviews. That means what is meant by budget review? Budget review is looking at the budget, whether it is sufficient or not. If not sufficient, we can ask more funds. If it is the fund given is more than the requirement, then we can surrender. So such kind of review can be taken place. Previously, 3 stages are there. One such stage is August review. In the month of August, we will be reviewing. So that August review, that stage is now stopped from 2017-18 because the government of India advanced its budget exercise. Previously, December it used to start. Now from September only it is starting. Now by September means August review, previous August review estimate, ARE, August review estimate. This used to be sent by September. Now, therefore, it has become defunct. So August review in the month of August, whatever we do, it has been stopped. Now, what are the other 2 reviews which are there? Number 1, sometimes they will ask you. So August review, it is not there. You can tell. And what are the other 2 review stages? Number 1, REBE, revised estimate and budget estimate. This will be done in the month of September. That is the first stage and the most important stage, because at that stage, what we are doing, I said, revised estimate for the current year. Revised estimate for the current year means the budget, whatever it was given in the month of April, whether it is sufficient or not, whether we have to ask more funds or we have to surrender funds, that exercise will be done in the month of September for the current year. That we call it as revised estimate for the current year. Now, what is the basis for us to review? When we are reviewing our current requirements, current year requirements, what should be the basis? Always we go by actuals. Now, what are the actuals which we have? April, May, June, July, and August. 5 months actuals are available with us. So, based on the 5 months actuals, these are actuals, already it is booked in our books. Earnings are available and expenditure is also available. So, first 5 months it is available. Now, you have to estimate only next 7 months. So, next 7 months, any known factors are there. Remember that first slide. So any known factors are there. You have to take that into account and then come to 12 months requirement. That 12 months requirement will compare with the budget given. Budget order, through budget order, how much BG was given. And we will compare, and if it is less, we will surrender, and if it is coming more, and we will ask more funds. Whenever you are asking more funds, we have to justify. So this is how that RE for the current, that is revised estimate for the current year we will do. First, we will fix that. So 5 months, 7 months, total 12 months requirement we have already fixed. Now, based on this RE, we will be asking the budget for the next year. What is next year? That we call it as budget estimate. That budget estimate, when you are asking, in the month of September itself. What is the basis? RE already fixed. So based on RE for the next year, 12 months requirements, RE for the current year we ask. Then based on that, for the next year, all known factors we will take into account. And then next year budget we will ask in the month of September itself. Based on RE, whatever we have projected, the railway board will give us RG, revised grant. In the month of January or February, we will be getting the revised grant. Based on BE, this BE, it will be presented when recently on 1st February, our Minister of Finance, Srimati Nirmala ji, she has presented a budget. So that 1st February compilation, budget compilation, it will start when? In the month of November. So to enable railway board to give our figures, our railway expenditure and railway receipts to Ministry of Finance, we have to compile our budget estimate for the next year in the month of September itself. So those figures will be taken by Ministry of Finance, and on 1st February, Government of India is preparing the budget for the next year. What is next year? 2022-23. So that we call them, technically, we call them as budget estimate. So when we give that budget estimate, we will be getting budget grant. When it will be communicated? In the month of March or April, it will be communicated. So this is the first stage of our budget review. So in the first stage of budget review, there are two segments are there. One is revised estimate for the current year. Dusra, budget estimate for the ensuing year, coming year, next year. Separately we will be giving. But while giving separately, first we will fix revised estimate for the current year. So from there, that will form the basis. Then budget estimate for the next year also we will prepare, and then we will submit it to Parliament, submit it to Railway Board. At Zonal Railway, we will take the, we will compile from all the units. We will take the figures in IPAS, and then we will compile demand-wise and sub-major head-wise, and then we will take the approval of general manager, and then we will send it to Railway Board by the prescribed time, because it is a constitutional work. We have to compile, because if we delay, then the entire process will be stopped. So we cannot do that. So that's how we will be doing. So this is the revised estimate and budget estimate for the next year. This is the first stage of budget review. One more review. Previously, it used to be there in the August. It is not there. You can make a mention. Okay. Now the second stage. Only two stages are there. So the second stage is final modification. This final modification stage, it will be done only in the month of February. In the month of February. So in the month of February, by that time, you will be having April, May, June, July, August, September. October, November, December. So up to December, you are having actuals. So this final modification, it is done only for the current year. For the next year, it is already done. Budget estimate we have prepared. It is already gone to Ministry of Finance also after discussions. Now Ministry of Finance already laid the budget in the month of February. So it is all over. Now by April, we will be getting the 2022-23 budget. So we'll start spending from 1st April. Keep that aside. Now for the current year, one more opportunity is given. First opportunity when it is given in the month of September. And one more opportunity, it is to review the budget, that is RG. Now we got RG. So whether that RG is sufficient, or if any further modification is required, modification माने तो ज़्यादा होना या नहीं तो कम होना, excess होना ज़्यादा होना. If you want more, yeah, you can ask more, and if you want less, you can surrender. So that will be prepared in the month of February. What is the advantage of this last minute opportunity? It is given when you don't require, you can surrender. When you require, you can ask more. So budget, our budget is very flexible budget. I can say our budget system is flexible budget. It is not a rigid budget. Once budget is given, no, you should be within this. No, not like that. Yeah, we should be within that. But if you want, you can ask, and when funds are available, then you can spend. So this is how. So how many budget reviews are there? 2 stages are there. One is REBE stage, another one is final modification stage. But mind you, for earnings, again I am telling, for earnings, only one budget review stage is there. Final modification stage for earnings is not there. It is only for expenditure. So this is how you should have it. So in a nutshell, how broadly, so demand for grant is 84 or 85, whatever one demand is there. So sub major heads, major heads, sub major heads. I told you already. So those sub major heads also very clearly it was given in this table. And for works under major head 5002, only one source wise we have to project, work wise, source wise we have to project our requirements. For your information, that 3001 miscellaneous expenditure, railway board and miscellaneous establishments will be there. Leave it. Under 3002, say for example, say earlier demand number 03, but now sub major head 1. Under sub major head 1, general superintendents and surveys. What it will come? What projections you give? It is related to the requirement of the zonal railway headquarters and divisional headquarters. Only divisional headquarters and divisional branch offices. Zonal railway headquarters, GM office, and the PHODs. Their officers, their officers and staff and their requirements. That only will be projecting under this, and we will be booking the expenditure under abstract A. Similarly, just for example, for आसानी आपको वो दिमाग में बैठने के लिए मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ. Then सब मेजर हेड 2, उसमें फंड्स किसको आपने मांगते? Repairs and maintenance of P-way and works. So permanent way and works. ये पूरा किसका होता है? Civil engineering का होता है. So there we will be asking funds and booking of expenditure under abstract B. Similarly, repairs and maintenance, motive power माने तो locos का, loco sheds का, loco shed officers का. So उसका expenditure हमें मांगते हैं sub major head 3 में. And you will be spending, after getting the money, you will be spending under abstract C. Similarly, repairs and maintenance, carriage and wagon. ये दूसरा मोटिव पावर का क्या कौन सा डिपार्टमेंट्स इस्तेमाल करते? इलेक्ट्रिकल एंड मैकेनिकल डिपार्टमेंट्स. एंड प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट, ये सॉरी कैरेज एंड वैगन प्योरली मैकेनिकल. जो भी इलेक्ट्रिकल का वर्क है वो भी उन्हें मांगेगा. बस then you will be spending under abstract D. Then plant and equipment, especially track machine organization का और एसेंट्री डिपार्टमेंट का, ये प्रीवियसली डिमांड नंबर 7, अभी सब मेजर हेड 5 इसमें मांगेगा और आप स्पेंड करेगा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ई। नाउ ये पूरा रिपेयर्स एंड मेंटेनेंस 4 हो गया और बाद में ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंसेस होते हैं। ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंस माने तो रोलिंग स्टॉक। सो रोलिंग स्टॉक चलाने के वास्ते, चलाने के वास्ते क्या क्या कौन सा होना, हमारा लुब्रिकेंट्स होना, हमारा ड्राइवर्स होना, हमारा गार्ड्स होना। सो उन लोगों का एक्सपेंडिचर ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एफ में आप इस्तेमाल करते, यूज करते और मांगते हैं सब मेजर हेड 6। देन ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंसेस ट्रैफिक डिपार्टमेंट में ट्रैफिक ट्रांसपोर्टेशन होता और कमर्शियल डिपार्टमेंट भी होता। सो उन लोगों का एक्सपेंडिचर, ऑफिसर्स और स्टाफ का एक्सपेंडिचर, वो डिमांड नंबर 9 प्रीवियसली एंड नाउ सब मेजर हेड 7 में फंड्स मांगेगा और आपने स्पेंड करेगा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट जी पे। देन फ्यूल माने तो हमारा 2 डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, HSD ऑयल का मैकेनिकल डिपार्टमेंट और इलेक्ट्रिकल डिपार्टमेंट ट्रैक्शन का। सो वो बिल पेमेंट का रिक्वायरमेंट हमें एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एच में हमें बुक करेगा और उसका बजट मांगेगा हमें सब मेजर हेड 8 में। इससे पहले इसका डिमांड नंबर 10, ये 3 खत्म होने के बाद और 3 स्टाफ वेलफेयर में रहता है। वो स्टाफ वेलफेयर एंड एमिनिटीज ये तो सब मेजर हेड 9 में मांगेगा, दैट इज रेलवे क्वार्टर्स, रेलवे कॉलोनीज, हमारा schools, colleges, medical, all those things will come under sub major head 9 and book करेगा abstract J में। and miscellaneous working expenses इसमें catering department, खाकी RPF department और claims department। so इन लोगों का expenditure और हिंदी वगैरह वगैरह कैश अवार्ड्स ये पूरा ये सब मेजर हेड 10 और एब्स्ट्रैक्ट के में हमें मांगेगा। और सस्पेंस हेड्स डिमांड्स पेएबल और MER ये दोनों हमें बजट करते हैं एन, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एन पे। और लास्ट पेंशन रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट्स सब मेजर हेड 11 में और बुक करेगा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एल में। ये होने के बाद अप्रोप्रिएशन टू फंड्स DRF एंड पेंशन फंड ये सब मेजर हेड 12 में आएगा और एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एम में बुक करेगा। देन दिस इज ऑल अबाउट रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर। नाउ कैपिटल सेगमेंट के बारे में ओनली वन मेजर हेड इज दैट। नाउ मेजर हेड चेंजेस, इट इज 5002 if it is a all this is commercial lines, okay, 5002 so it is for asset acquisition, construction, replacement। प्लान हेड वाइज, सोर्स वाइज बाकी का चेंज, बाकी का वर्क वाइज we will be projecting our requirements and funds will be given and that we call it as a pink book। Works, machinery and rolling stock program, that collectively we call it as pink book. Their demands will the requirement of funds as voted by parliament, it will be available. Okay. This is so general instructions is that RE is based on the earnings and expenditure trends of first 5 months. Already I told you, please remember this very carefully. Then BE, budget estimate, is prepared entirely in respect of ordinary working expenses. Then GST payments are projected under new PUs, whatever PUs communicated by railway board, so we have to do. And new recruitment notifications agar aaye aur जने भी आके रिपोर्ट किया, then उनका requirement, उनका payment का requirement भी हमें लेना है। When we take new recruitments, similarly we should take out the retired people, how many people they are going out, and to that extent we have to reduce our expenditure. Then in regard to works segment, budget is asked only for works in progress. Then based on the works program sent by zonal railway, the works is selected. For that, how much for new works it is required, and total money how much available, they will keep, railway board will keep it in mind. For new works, they will set apart certain money, and the remaining amount, as per our works in progress, whatever our projections are given, accordingly, based on the money available with the railway board, they will be distributing to each of the zonal railway and works. Then the budget, it has now it has to be presented in the IPAS budget module, and from no other source, whatever you give, it will not be considered. So each spending authority has been given a code, that is BSPU. We call it as BSPU, budget spending unit. So login ID will be there, and they have to project the requirements. Bahut asani ho gaye. And one more point is that if they have to log in department using that ID, so which abstract which they want to utilize, which submeasure head, and then which subhead and which P. So they can enter the budget, and the grant also will be allotted through IPAS budget module only. Therefore, what will happen is, of course, we are not linked that budget, whatever it is available. Okay. So we are not linked, but the budget will be communicated in the IPAS only in the proportion of the budget estimate, whatever we have given, and accordingly that budget distribution will take place. Then management information also, it can be compiled in IPAS. Revenue allocation register, we can have it, and our works register also we can have in IPAS itself. Then what else we can have? Okay, post budgetary credits. Acha, agar credits kuch hai, so those credits we can well, if credits are there, so those credits we have to show them separately under primary unit 98. Separate primary unit was given, and the variations, if any, we have to clearly spell out why we are asking more and why we are surrendering. That anyhow we have to give. And previously 18-24 one slot we used to give, but separately now data entry has to be given. Then there are certain annexures. This is all budget exercise. It is over. Now previously this budget annexures we used to send later on. Even now also these annexures, whatever for revenue, for works, and for earnings, whatever budget annexures we have to give, those statements we have to continue to give. As an example, I can tell annexure R3 staff statement, annexure then annexure R4, performance units of expenditure. On annexure R5 and R6, traction-wise correlation statement. Annexure R8, manual form of submeasure head 11 for demand number 3 for IRISET, NAIR, RDSO, centralized institutes. Then department-wise staff position we have to give. So these are all the annexures which we have to give for REBE. Similarly, we should have for capital expenditure annexures starting with W, and for earnings also, and there are certain annexures which we have to send, W14, W15, W16, like that. There are certain statements that we have to give. Similarly, for civil grants, that means HBA, for other advances, you have to project the requirements. And most importantly, you have to compile and then project your requirements to railway board within the time schedule given. What are the timetable that is given? I'll just, in the end it is there. Yeah, these are the, previous. So these are the statements, these are the dates which we have to compile and then send it to railway board. So earnings by 27th September, and for ordinary working expenses 27th September. Civil
screen is not visible, sir.
Oh, why it is not? It's okay.
PPT.
How? Okay. Now this is the final one. I'm not. I don't know why it is happening. So civil estimates is 27th September. Similarly, works expenses 27th September we have to compile. So these are the important dates which you have to keep it in mind. So please remember those budget reviews and the months up to which actuals are available and projections are to be taken, and what are the important budget stages, and what are the segments for which we have to project our requirements. These are all the things, important matters which you have to keep it in mind. All the best. So Nashagaru, now I am available, and if they have got any doubts, they can ask.
Participants, please raise your hands. Any queries?
Yeah, in the chart also you can see. In the chart, anything is there.
Okay, sir. I'll check, sir. Sir, no queries in the chat box, sir.
Chat box.
Yeah, participants, any queries? I'm uploading this PPT. You please download.
Yeah, I think in the screen, I think is there. Yeah, any doubt is there, you can ask. Okay, let us.
Yeah, please submit your feedback also. Yeah, please download this PPT in chat box.
Okay, participants, all the best.
Yeah, sir, no queries from the participants.
Yeah.
On behalf of IRIFM, I thank faculty Shri Damodara Prasad, retired senior FA, for delivering this topic on railway budget. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much.